Suzy, this is your November 5th, 2019 swing. It's an athletic swing. It's close to where it should be. There's so many good things in this swing, but you're having to work so hard, and the extra movements are causing you to be inconsistent. When the compensating moves line up with the needed movements, you can whack it as well as anybody, and it's reflective of it. It's a very athletic swing, and you're within a couple refinements of really being good and consistent. So let's take a look at the motion, and remember the yellow lines are your they correspond to the shaft angle at address, and that corresponds to your swing plane. Now the swing plane is any plane parallel to the yellow lines, and when we get the shaft off the yellow line, that's an unneeded movement, requires a compensating movement to get it back on. And this is why the swing plane is important, and keep it close to the swing plane, because to come down and hit it, look, you've got to get right back on the swing plane. So that's why we want to minimize the excursions from the swing plane. So when we take it away, by the way, the posture and setup is really good, really nice, and you're taking it away outside, which is better than taking it away inside, but still we want to look more like Adam Scott. So, this is the first thing that I would fix if it were my swing. This is where you want it to be. You want the shaft of the club parallel your toe lines, toe the club up, and it'll kind of overlap the hands here. So I'll give you the photo of that. Take it away. Okay. So if you get it more like Scott, you got a better chance to get it going. Now, so you're like 90 degrees off plane here, and then you make so it's still really steep. Now you can get by with steep if you can start your lower body early and reroute it. But you get it up in here and see how he takes it right up on the plane. And it was just like Andy, to see where his right wrist is bent back on itself like a serving tray. See at the top, it's like this. You're really not bent back on, your wrist isn't really bent back on itself, hardly at all. I mean, it's pretty flat here. If you get it more like Adam Scott's, then the club will be more on plane and all. So when you take it up, now this is the extra move. So you're here at the top. As you start down, watch the butt of the club. I got a white T in it. So the butt of the club goes this way, goes away from the target. Then you start down. The hands are behind the body, too deep behind the body. And when you start down, if you remember right, is that you should start down with the shaft pointed or being parallel to the swing plane. Pointed at the ball or a little higher. See, when he comes down, he's pointed, somewhere above the ball the entire trip. Now, when you come here, so So you start down, and then this is kind of this loop with the butt of the club. So now you're trying to correct and save it with your hands. Great athletes, so you go from this red line, which is way off plane, to the green line. See, that's all on plane, so that's a sign of a good athlete. But here's the problem. In mid-swing, when you're picking up speed, you have to go from the red line to the green line to be back on plane to hit it right. So it's nearly impossible. And what happens is, if you don't lay it down, that's called laying it down or rerouting it, if you don't lay it down, shallow it out enough, then you'll stick a fork in the ground behind the ball and or pull it left. If you overcook it and lay it down too much, flatter than the green line, then you end up pushing the ball. So the ball can go right or left as you come through. So this hand movement, you now know what this is. So at the top, you're in a very weak position. So we'll give you a picture of this. So see how that elbow is way behind you, and see how as he collapses his arms, is going to hit him in the chest. And the thing is, with his elbow, to get going down, all he does is boom, and it's at his side. You're having to go like 2 feet. See, the elbow's flying. That elbow's flying. It's going to be steep, still flying. See, it's behind you. See, there's your elbow. When he gets to that position, his elbow is crawling in front of him. Okay, so that transition move at the top, the top position and the transition are causing all sorts of problems. So I'll give you a copy of this also. Top. So you want to print this thing out and put them in the mirror, and that's the best practice. Look more like Scott. Whoops. Let me do that again. Okay, now, so, like I say, we want to get to the top more like him, but we want to, from here, look what happens to the butt of his club. So, let's look at the elbow pad. So, this blue line is the elbow path that goes through your elbow and elbow plane. And watch it. So you get it in here, and then you pull it off the elbow plane. You see it's right here. Should be in that blue line. And then it's still back here. Then it's too deep, and behind you. And then you kind of reroute it, kind of this loop-de-doo. Yeah. See that? It's just all sorts of movement. And then you come down, and the elbow is still behind the plane. Having said that, you're getting the club in a pretty good spot here, but so much commotion getting there. Now watch his elbow plane. So we go from the hosel up his elbow. So he takes it up pretty much on plane, comes down pretty much on plane. So what we want to do is get more like him at the top, and coming down, the butt of the club just goes right towards the ball. See, the butt of your club goes kind of loop back, get it deeper than you possibly need, and then you come down steep and you have to lay it down. So that's the only thing wrong with your swing, I'm telling you. Look how you turn through. You keep that hip pocket against the back wall. You're turning through, end up on your toe. Your belt buckle's facing the target. There's a ton of things right with this. But you're making it so difficult with this little loop-de-doo here. As opposed to this number on. Up and down, up and down.